Good morning. This is day 10 of New Life, and I thought I would talk about communication. Excuse me. So, if you've been following me, I'm actually posting all of these on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out if you like. It's Carrie Katz YouTube channel. And I got an email from someone who had been to my website. That's carriekatzcoaching.com. If you're interested, it's 10 tips to communication. So here we go. So the first tip would be, and this is verbal and nonverbal communication. So definitely something that you might want to consider if you're having any kind of issue with talking to people, communicating your ideas, feeling heard. So these are very useful. So the first thing is talk. Express yourself. In other words, no one is a mind reader. So just remember that the clearer you can get to what you want to say, and actually saying it, will definitely make someone else feel like you are contributing, that you are saying something and they're listening. Now, not everyone listens, but at least let it come from your heart, from yourself, and express what's going on for you. No one can tell unless you tell. They can hear it. Speak in your name. So that means speaking from the I. In other words, if you're giving abstract examples and you're trying to be, no one likes blah, blah, blah in terms of third person, it's not really effective. If you speak from the I, you own it, and it also puts someone else at ease because they're not feeling attacked. So if you own what you say, you speak from I feel, I think. In other words, you speak for yourself, and you are taking responsibility for how you feel instead of putting it on someone else. This is a much more impactful and powerful way. Number 3, describe your thoughts and feelings and needs. What does that mean? Describe as well as you can. Clarify what your needs are, what you're feeling, because people are not, again, mind readers, and you need to let them know. Honesty, if you're coming from an authentic, honest place, this is definitely a key to communications. No one can tell what you're thinking or how you're feeling or how something is making you feel unless you actually do that. Number 4, describe the behaviors of others without making judgments by stating the facts. So what does that mean? If you describe it without being judgmental, in other words, you're taking out the energy. You're taking out the sting of it. You're just describing it. In other words, you're not judging it. If you just describe what you saw instead of condoning it or biasing it one way or the other, the other person can make up their minds. So as best as you can, if you're objective, this makes others come to their own conclusions, and you can find out what they think about what just happened instead of you basically telling them how they should think. No one wants to be told how they should think. So let them speak for themselves. And also, if you describe what happened, it sounds less gossipy, because gossip is almost always salacious. So this is something to think about. So that's number 4. Number 5 is formulate your responses by taking into account the perspective of the listener. So, in other words, what you're doing is you're acknowledging, I don't know what's going on. You're acknowledging the other person. So, when you respond to their questions, take into account who you're actually talking to. Really pay attention, so that they can understand. So they're feeling heard. Once they've said something, you are taking into account who they are, how old are they? Are they a child? Are they your parent? And everyone likes to know that they're being understood and they're being taken care. They're cared for. In other words, you are treating them the way you want to be treated when they're responding to what you have to say. This is in communication land. Number 6, ask your listener to repeat what he or she has said that they've understood. What does that mean? In other words, when I was raising my daughter, I wasn't always sure that she heard what I said to her. And I'd ask her to repeat what she understood if we were on the same page. I would tell her something. I go, what did you hear me just say? And sometimes she missed the point completely, and sometimes she got it spot on. And the more I asked her what she actually heard, and I would say, well, actually what I was saying is this. She got better at listening herself for what I was saying. So we got better at the listening for both of us. So I understood more what she was hearing, so I could actually formulate how I was able to communicate with her. So when you're asking the person, can you repeat what you just heard? Especially if you're in a work situation or a parent situation or a relationship, a romantic relationship, if they're hearing something else, then you're not communicating it clearly, and you need to know. You need a better way of communicating. So that is really effective communication, and it's actually a real key to avoiding being drastically misunderstood and really clarifying. So clarity is a key to good communication. You really get each other. You're on the same page. Number 7. If necessary, repeat several times your message in many ways. So you've done number 6. You've asked the person to repeat back what you think that they heard you, that you were able to actually explain it. And then if they didn't hear it, it's possible that what you're describing, what you're saying in your communication isn't getting through. And maybe you need another way, find a different way of saying the same thing. This actually helps because everyone hears something different and everyone is coming from their own perspective. So you get better at understanding who you're talking to, or the fact that you might be talking about something, but it's not coming across. So repeat it. They'll tell you, I got it. Once they got it, they got it. But you might have to repeat your message, and don't give up. Because if you're misunderstood, that can create a lot of ripple effect in your relationships, professional, personal. Number 8, this is very important. Look the person in the eye. In some cultures, it's not very good, but in most cultures, especially in interpersonal relationships, the fact that you would take the time to deeply gaze at someone and look at them and they feel seen, it's very impactful. So you look into the eyes of who you're having a conversation. They feel that you're focused on them. They feel heard. They feel seen. And it creates trust and authenticity, which is very important in communication. Even authority if you need it. So you're standing your ground, especially if you have something important to say. It shows that you're also serious, you're sincere, and most of all, if you're saying something important, you have courage, the courage of your conviction. You stand behind what you're saying, that you are real, that you're not insecure, or you're not, worse than insecure, you're not sincere in what you're saying. So just be in touch with what your core of what message you would like. Number 9, make your nonverbal cues correspond to your message. So in other words, smile if you are coming from a light place. If you're looking over seriously, it's not so good, right? So you make sure that your nonverbal cues correspond to your message. If you're sitting there and you want to be inviting and your arms are crossed, you're sending 2 different messages. If you're smiling with your lips, but your eyes are cold, because you don't like that person, you're not being sincere. So don't smile if you're not feeling it, because it becomes creepy. It's actually really important. The other nonverbal that happens when you're nervous is laughter. So if you are giggling or laughing, but your eyes are sad while smiling, or your body is tense, just pay attention. Are you actually aligned with your words? And that actually takes some practice to be aligned with your words. And now, guess what? We're at number 10. 10. Be as clear and precise as you can when you articulate your ideas. So what does that mean? It means that if you have a tendency to be really, really short, really long-winded, you might lose their attention. So learning how to hone your message, and this is especially true for if you're an entrepreneur, or if for an elevator talk, 30 seconds, really honing what you're going to say, very concise. And it is a skill. It is a skill that can be learned, but it is a skill. So simplify. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to write out your thoughts before you have something important to say. So write things down, take a note, and think, is this really what I want to say? Or am I missing the point? Am I beating around the bush? Take a logical deep breath, gather your thoughts, count to 10 if you have to, especially if you're in a heated conversation. Take your time and really try to simplify when needed. So those are my 10 tips, and I thank you if you catch this on a rebroadcast on Periscope, but I will be downloading this to my YouTube channel. This is me, out.